neighbor's desk so it's not a distraction. And you can put your flashcards away for just a minute. And we are going to kind of discuss what we've been discussing for the last few days. So on Monday, we went outside and we explored. Does anybody remember what we did that day? Oliver?
We discovered offsprings, grown-up plants, and baby seeds.
Ooh, we discovered offsprings, which are babies. We discovered plants, parent plants. What else did we do?
We got to plant seeds, and we got to
We planted seeds. Mm-hmm.
we got to look for seeds.
We got to look for seeds out in the field. Uh-huh.
That's all we did.
Did we do anything with fruits? With tweezers, Opal?
We picked the seeds out of the fruit. So
We
we
picked-
harvested them.
We harvested seeds out of the fruit. So did we take a look at how a parent helps its child? Or the offspring, the seed? What did we talk about that? What was that word? Does anybody remember that word, how a parent helps their offspring?
Shield.
Shields? Ooh, is there another word for shields? So close. Wyatt?
Parents.
Parents, yeah. McKenna?
Protect the seeds.
We protect the seeds. And you guys protected the seeds, and the parents protected the seeds, and we harvested them. So when we looked at the sunshine and the soil and everything around those plants, what is that called? Does anybody remember what that word is?
Nature.
Nature is everything outside that's not made by humans, right? Is there another word that we discussed while we were out there? Opal? It starts with an E. Does anybody remember that word? Environment. We talked about the environment. So when we were planting seeds, what other words did we talk about? Do you remember what this was, McKenna?
They're called action words.
They're called sequential words. What does sequential transition words mean? Does anybody remember? Opal?
Words that are based off steps.
Words that are based off steps. Perfect. So what you guys are going to do here in a little bit is you're going to have an opportunity to write your own how-to book. And you'll be either able to write how to harvest seeds or how to plant seeds. And you'll be able to take these books home to your families after a while and share them the steps that you took to harvest those seeds. But before we do that, I want to read you a story. And it's called Planting a Rainbow by Louise Ellert. Now, with reading this book, I want us to pay attention to our sequential transition words. So before we read this book, can I get a couple helpers to help me read these sequential transition words? Because I'm going to tell you, Miss Becca's hand hurts from typing them all. You guys did an amazing job coming up with sequential transition words. Oliver, you want to start us off?
First, then, next step.
Perfect. McKenna, would you like to start?
Step 1,
Uh-huh.
step 2, last step,
Last thing? Mm-hmm.
next.
Next. Who would like to go next? Opal, can you see it? Let me see if I can hold it up.
Step 15, first but not least, 2,
To finish. Good job.
step.
Perfect. Wyatt, would you like to read?
Finally, after we, not last, not least, and then, middle step.
Perfect. Nate, would you like to read? Would anybody else like to read? Would you like to read, Charlie? Okay, Gavin, would you like to read? Good job. Last, but not. Good. For, but not. Uh-huh. Good job. We have a lot of sequential transition words there. So, if you guys hear one that I miss, make sure you raise your hand while I'm reading the story. Oh, did you come up with one I missed on that list? Last one. Oh, wow. Okay. We're going to read this book, so make sure we're listening to it, because this is another book that tells us how to. It's called Planting a Rainbow by Louise Ellwart. In the fall, we buy some bulbs and plant them in the ground. We order seeds from catalogs and wait all winter long for spring to warm the soil and sprout the bulbs.
You missed the word and.
Ooh, and good catch. Then it's time to go to the garden center and select some seedlings. Opal? Then. Oh, wow. Did you hear a different one than then, or that was the one you heard as well, Oliver? Okay. We sow the seeds and set out the plants in soil. Yeah?
Oh, I heard and.
And good. And watch the rainbow grow. Yeah?
I heard and.
And yeah.
I heard the.
And good words. Listening to all the words. And grow. Yeah.
There's two ands on that thing.
Yeah. And grow. We have some red flowers and orange flowers and some yellow blooms. We grow something green and some blue flowers and some purple flowers too. Oh, nope, 2 is not up there. All summer long, we pick them and bring them home. And when summer is over, we know we can grow our rainbow again next year. So besides all the ands and the thens and next, how do we know that's a how-to book? Did they start with a process? Go ahead, McKenna.
They actually said the words, and so that's like the next and second, third.
Yeah, they talked about gathering the seeds, and then they talked about growing the seeds, and then they talked about the flowers growing, and then they talked about doing it all over again the next year. So that was an awesome, awesome observation. So, if I am going to write a how-to book on how to plant seeds or how to harvest seeds, what's the first step I have to do? Opal?
You need to write down
Well, our first step we gotta do is we gotta decide what we're gonna write on, right? So, do you have an idea, Oliver? Are you gonna write on how to harvest seeds or how to plant seeds?
I was going to say big spider names in the middle of one foot.
What?
I was going to say big spider names just to know which one's which.
Yep, you would have to write your name. Very good, and we'll talk about that in a second. But if you're gonna write a how-to book, are you gonna write on how to harvest seeds or how to plant seeds? You wanna think about it?
I think I'll do both.
Ooh! Oliver's gonna write on both. Do you hear that? Okay, how to plant seeds or how to harvest seeds, Allie? Allie's gonna write on how to plant seeds. Charlie, are you gonna write on how to plant or how to harvest? Which one was your favorite thing to do? Was it to plant seeds or was it to use the tweezers and harvest the seeds? Oh, so Charlie's gonna write on how to harvest the seeds. share what my son did with you, so maybe it can give you some ideas first, you guys. So Colton, some of you may know Colton, he's in 4th grade this year. He helped me out by writing a couple books for me. So the first one, some of you guys said you're gonna write on how to plant seeds. And then he also wrote how to harvest seeds. So the first thing he did on this one is he wrote how to plant seeds. So we all know what he's writing about, right? And then he wrote, written by Colton. You gotta write your name on there, right? So then as I open it up, he says, first get your cup and put a hole in the bottom. And then he drew a picture. The second thing he wrote was put dirt in your cup. Does it talk about using the sequential words? Are you getting the directions? Okay, so that's one way to start it off. This one he wrote on plain paper, and he said, How to Harvest Seeds by Colton Mulder. And on it, it said his first page is he needed materials to get started. He needed yellow squash, he needed a spoon, he needed a paper towel, he needed an envelope. And then he wrote, step 1, gather yellow squash. What do you think is going to be on the next page? What word? Yeah, he used step 2. He says step 2, open squash. Step 3. So let's kind of brainstorm a couple ways that you may start your story. Does anybody have any ideas how they're going to use the sequential transition words? Yes, McKenna?
I'm going to use first.
Ooh, first what?
First step.
First step. Go ahead.
Second step.
Can you give me the whole sentence? First step what?
First step, get more materials.
Get my materials. Okay.
Second step,
Second step.
put 3 holes in my cup.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So McKenna started off her story like this. Does anybody else have an idea of how they might start theirs off? Using different sequential transition words. So she used first step and second step. Can someone give me another idea of how they may start it off? Wyatt.
Third step.
Without using third step, we're going to start a new story now. And without using first step or second step. Opal, do you have an idea how you're going to start it off? Not yet? Oliver?
First.
First? First. Okay, how are you going to start it? First what?
First, get fruits, tweezers.
Get what?
Get fruit and cheese tweezers.
Ooh, get fruit. And tweezers. Perfect. Okay.
Then poke
Then.
holes at the bottom.
Ooh. Perfect. Thank you.
No. Then poke holes in the bottom so water can drain.
So the water can drain? Perfect. Thank you so much for starting that off. Is there anybody else that has a different idea? I'm running out of room. But a different idea besides first step, second step, first, and then. Maybe can we use, same instructions as McKenna does?
No.
No, they're all gonna be different, and that's okay. When we start writing, I want us to remember something. What kind of writing do we need to do? What do we need to include in our writing, Oliver?
5-star writing.
5-star writing. McKenna, can you give me the first step of 5-star writing? Or,
I was going to say, first grade writing.
ooh, first grade writing, phonemic spelling, awesome. Opal,
Capital letters.
we're gonna need those capital letters, right?
And spaces and punctuation.
And finger spacing and punctuation. Can anybody tell me what the different types of punctuation is? Opal, can you give me one?
Question mark.
Question.
Period and exclamation mark.
Perfect. Periods, question marks, and exclamations. So we have phonemic spelling. We have our capital letters. We have punctuation. We have finger spacing. Is there one more thing on that 5-star sentence? Anybody remember it, Allie?
Good handwriting.
Good handwriting. You're right. Okay, so there's one more besides that I forgot. Opal?
This is capital letter starting from the name.
Capital letter when we're talking about someone's name. Wyatt?
Make sure it makes sense.
Perfect, good job. We need to make sure our writing makes sense, okay? So we're gonna take a little break. We're gonna run outside, not run outside, but we're gonna walk outside and we're gonna go play for a little while and we'll kind of come back in and we'll start writing, okay? Any questions about writing or anything? Recess.